Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 116 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Justin, and I'm a lonesome soldier tonight. Big shout-out to Susie and Mitch. They had their baby this past Thursday. So welcome to the clan, Evan. Another boy. I was secretly hoping for a girl, but another boy in the Wilcox clan. So shout out to them and congratulations. We truly are evening out the universe on this podcast. My three girls, now he's got three boys. So true balancing act from me and Mitch here. So shout out to them, but he is out tonight and I am all by myself. A lot to talk about. First off, I think I found a new week. That might maybe 2 weeks that it might be the worst of the year, and that includes the winter. I think it's right now, and hear me out on this. It is truly hotter than the devil's ass crack outside. There's literally nothing going on. Those are two things right there. Nothing going on. Just kind of had a last blowout this weekend. We went to huge country festival. I went to 3 nights of it. Truly found out how old I'm getting. After 3 nights, my feet hurt. My shoulders hurt. Somehow my back hurt. I don't know how that happened. But after that, there's nothing. There's nothing to look forward to. Not a lot to look for. Maybe football here in about 3 weeks. That kind of gets us out of the dog days of summer. But man, these next couple weeks, kids are down. School's going back. It's super hot outside. Parents are, maybe I want my kids out of the house. I'm ready for them to go back to school. But I think these next couple weeks are probably the worst of the year. One of the worst. Maybe not the worst. I think like the last 2 weeks of January when it feels like it's been going on for 60 days is probably the worst. This is a close second. These 2 weeks and all 2-3 weeks left of August until football starts. Because like preseason football is preseason football. When we get to that Labor Day weekend, college football kicks off. That next week, NFL kicks off. That kind of gets us out of the dog days of summer, in my opinion. But shout out to the place we live, country concert this weekend. Got to see Darius Rucker, who was phenomenal. You could kind of tell what everybody was there to see. Everybody was there to see him sing the 3 or 4 Hootie songs he was going to sing. But he was phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. Carrie Underwood, a little underwhelming. Didn't realize how much she screamed in songs. She screams a lot. But my 11-year-old daughter absolutely loved her. Not going to lie. It was a good show. Just not my cup of tea from a music standpoint. A lot of chick songs. But she's an incredible talent, puts on a great show. Came out with a tiger on her outfit, which was kind of a shout out to the Bengals. So she gets some bonus points for that. So shout out to Carrie for that. And then the third night we saw Hardy was the headliner with Mitchell Tenpenny. Phenomenal people, phenomenal artists. If you've not heard of Mitchell Tenpenny, go listen to him. Heard him last year at Luke Combs. He opened up for Luke Combs. Go listen to his stuff. And Hardy's just like, they played everything from country to headbangers, and it was just a phenomenal mix. So shout out to them. They put on an amazing show too. Knew some Hardy songs, but didn't really know the vibe I was getting into, and it blew my mind. So shout out to Hardy for that as well. So we're going to move on to my golf. Enough with country music and dog days of summer, but my golf. So we had our 1-day member this weekend. Format was 9-9-9, so 9 best ball, 9 scramble, 9 alternate shot. I played with my guy Gunt. We were coming back as returning champions from the previous year, and boy, did we come out of the chute not playing well. So, we first hole, I blow my first drive completely out of bounds, not completely into Tractor Supply parking lot, but into a main highway. I was already out of the first hole in the first swing of the tournament. My guy Gunth grinded out a net birdie on that hole, but we kind of found out what the first 18 holes were going to hold for us on the next hole when I'm greenside and 2 on a par 5. My guy pumps one out of his second shot out of bounds. I saw he makes 7. I'm like, I got you. I got you. I'm greenside. I end up making double from greenside after just a horrendous display of chipping and putting. So we end up getting through best ball. That was our best ball part of our format. We end up getting through best ball, just grinding it out, shooting 1 under. And we kind of knew, it was like, look, that didn't remove us from the tournament, but we've got a lot of strokes to make up at this point. Get to the scramble, kind of start out okay. And the wheels just came off again. Just made a lot of pars. I think we started out 2 under through 4 and made 4 straight pars. And actually, I think we parred out after that. Excuse me. Shoot 2 under, a net 3 under for us on the scramble. Again, just couldn't find the momentum. So we're making the turn. We've got 9 holes left. And the way we started, it broke everything up evenly because we started on hole 1. But our last format was alternate shot. We make the turn. We're like, look, we see some scores. We're out of this thing. Maybe we can pull a backdoor top 5 out of this if we play really well. But for the most part, we're kind of thinking we're not winning this. So we grabbed some drinks and we played reckless abandonment. I mean, just we're hitting drivers where we shouldn't be hitting drivers. So we started on hole 1, 2-putt par, easy peasy. Get to the next hole. I kill a drive. Probably shouldn't have hit driver on that hole. My guy hits my shot to about a foot, tap in birdie. Next hole, we both hit the green. I've got about 12 foot from his ball. He has got about 25 feet from my ball. He just drains a 25-footer. Next hole, moving along. So we're 2 under through 3 in alternate shot. So we get the 4. And for those that don't know our course, you may have heard us talk about this hole. Pretty big dogleg left. Driver's typically never the play. But like I said, we kind of came out. We're like, we're going to throw it all on. We're just going to put it all on the line and see what we shoot. Just to hold our heads high, something to hang our hat on. And so I say, hey, you hit iron out there. I'm going to try to drive the green. Nice little, right to left wind. Pretty good for driving this green. Probably perfect wind to drive this green. He hits it out in the fairway. I hit it on the perfect line. I'm like, if that's not on, it's barely short. We get up there. It's on the front of the green. My guy Gunth almost makes the putt, leaves it just a little left, tap in birdie. So now we're 3 under through 4. And I can already tell our mindset's changing just a hair. It went from just let's just go out here, hit shots, see what happens. No cares in the world to all right, we're getting a little tight. We know we got something special going on here, just from a standpoint of we're just trying to shoot as low as possible. Get the 5. We both missed the green. I hit a decent chip shot up there, and it's about 5 feet. My guy Gunth has about 160 mile an hour per hour ball speed on this putt. Just smokes it by. I actually had to make a 4-footer for bogey. But you know what? We're still 2 under through 5. Pretty damn good in alternate shot. At this point, the lowest alternate shot score we saw, I think, was 4.5 under, maybe 5.5 under. So 30.5 with the adjustments to the score. So we get on 6. I spray a drive way right. We actually hit it so far right that I actually decent angle into the green. My guy Gunth, I mean, I'm not kidding you, hits the best 5-iron I've ever seen in my life. He hits it over a tree that's about 30 feet tall from about 215, and he hits it on the line. We couldn't see it land, but I'm like, did you hit it good? He was like, I can't hit it any better than that. I don't know what to do. He's like, go up there and get it out of the hole. That's what he tells me. So we get up there. He's 12 feet. So now we got a 12-footer for eagle, and I leave it dead center. I mean, probably 6 inches short. I mean, this thing is center cut. Tap in birdie. So now we're 3 under through 6. Kind of feel like we got our momentum back a little bit. And And by the way, our adjustment on this side is -1. So really with our adjustment currently, we're 4 under through 6 holes. 7 was a drivable par 4. It's about 300 from the back tees. They had the back tees where they're normally at. They had the white tees, which is what Gunther was playing, at about 270. I drive the green just on the right side, right fringe, pins all the way on the left front. My guy Gunther drives the green too. He's a little deeper, but on the right side and on the green. And I looked at him. He lags my putt up there. I'm like, look, that's makeable. Just the alternate shot, you get the hit the other person's ball. So we have a birdie. Like we're like, that's good. We're gonna make that. I said, I'm going after this. I'm gonna make up for that last miss. And I drain about a 45-foot eagle putt. So now we're 5 under through 7. We know we've got something special going on at this point. We're eyeing down 28. Net 28, gross 29. Next hole's a par 5. I had my best swing of the day. He had a good drive out there. We had about 210. I hit a 5-iron up the hill, out of a bit of a flyer lie to about 20 feet. My guy made a good stroke on it. I mean, we were like, look, if we make this, like, I don't know what we're gonna do. But we end up making bird. He misses it. I end up making about a 4-foot birdie putt. We get to 9, and I was like, I'm gonna make a scene on this green if we make birdie. Like that's just gonna happen. That would put us at gross 29, net 28. We get the ball up on the green. I end up having the putt from about, I don't know, probably 30 feet. And again, just like left it dead center cut in the cup. And so we tap in for par. We gross 30, net 29 on the alternate shot. Was good for low alt shot score, which got us a little bit of money. Took us into, I think we tied for 6th for the entire tournament. But I think the reason I really wanted to talk about this is just because there's so many formats out there, but like just grinding it out. Like that's what we kept saying and just letting it hang out, right? Like if you're trying to control your outcomes and you're trying to not make bad shots, that's when the bad shots come. I can tell you, we played so free on that last 9 that I think we were going to play well regardless. Even if we threw another bogey in there or maybe a putt didn't fall, like we're still shooting, 4 or 5 under in an alternate shot format. So shout out to my partner, Gunt. I love you. I know you're going to listen to this tomorrow morning. Love you. I feel like we're just grinders. That's what we are. That's what me and him are. And I love it. I love that format. And I love playing with him. We'll be back at it next year. Sorry, Mitch. I'm taking your partner again. We'll be back at it again next year. Shout out to our playing partners, our guy Trinkle and Big Sammy. We call him Country Croc with the buttery fades. We played with them all day. They played phenomenal for the most part. They made everything they looked at. They ended up coming just a hair behind us at 97.5. I think was good for, tied for 8th or tied for 9th. But they had a good day. They grinded it out too. Not a lot went their way, but they made a lot of putts. But man, what a fun tournament. It is a long day, but it's fun. It's so much fun. I can't wait till next year. McGonagle is one of my favorite tournaments we play every year. But after this, we don't have much left. Member guests coming up here. Looks like it's getting pushed back to October, which I don't hate. It's usually in the end of August. So not a lot coming up here down the pipeline. Again, kind of goes back to that dog days of summer thing. Not a lot going on. Got a couple match play matches to get in here, but that's it for right now as far as golf goes. Personal golf. Maybe take a little bit of time off with the kids going back to school, but so with that being said, I know I'm being kind of negative tonight, with the dog days of summer, but I think a good look back on the summer, not from a professional golf experience, golf or whatever, maybe a little bit of that, but I wanted to do a power rankings tonight of the best things in golf this summer. A lot of happening. I'm probably going to miss something. I will take all the shots that I deserve if I do miss something that probably deserves on this list. I thought about this for quite some time, probably 2 or 3 days. I don't think I missed anything, and I hope for your sake, I hope I say something that you didn't know happened, and you can go find it and read about it or whatever it might be. So we're starting out power rankings, best things from the summer in golf, starting at number 6. Probably feel like this one should be higher, but it's coming in at 6. The Nick Tarnasky fight. If you didn't see the video, this guy in Canada, this drunk guy, they were sitting on the tee box for like 25 minutes. He starts mouthing off. It wasn't until about like 12 or maybe a day later, 12 hours or a day later, that people were like, that's Nick Tarnasky. Like, he's an NHL player. Like, this guy just gets the shit beat out of him. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it. This guy just gets embarrassed, gets thrown in the lake, comes back out, gets thrown on the ground. Was just an electric moment for, the shrink the game guys, right? Like, get some of these dudes off of the golf course. This guy, hanging out on the course, taking forever, and then starts mouthing off. And then the worst part of it all, mouths off to an NHL player who's been probably in more fights than the whole group in this video combined. Just beats the pulp out of this guy. I loved it. Now, apparently, update on this. Someone put a memorial sign where the guy got thrown in the lake. I love it. I love it so much. But that comes in at number 6 as far as best things that happened in golf this summer. I know, honestly, probably could be higher on most lists. It is a phenomenal video. There's just no way to. If you don't like violence, you're probably going to hate it. But if you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's a great video. Coming in at number 5, we're going to stick with some internet phenomenons this summer in golf. For those that don't know who Yip Strickler is, he's the guy, Instagram, on Twitter, essentially gets shot instant messages about doing some research into sandbaggers and local clubs, events, and things like that. Now he's kind of stretched out. He's done a lot of the Barstool events, qualifiers. He's done some state net tournament digging into those as far as like guys that win it and seeing if they're sandbaggers. So Yip ends up calling this guy out. Well, I think his first name was Tony. I don't know his last name. Calls us, gets a tip that this guy's a huge sandbagger. He won an event at a club. I think a member guest. Starts digging into the gin. That's what he's at. Straight to the gin. Finds out this guy is kind of it checks out. He's definitely a sandbagger, but take a turn for the worst in this situation. So Tony gets on Instagram, or I think actually Twitter, and finds this video about him. He makes some comments, and he's trying to defend himself. Worst thing you can do on Twitter is try to defend yourself in the comments or, in the threads. I've done it. It never works out. Just shut up, leave it alone, and just move on. Like, that's the best thing you can do. Well, this guy took it one step further. Not only was he just calling people names in the threads, this guy sends a cease and desist letter to Yip Strickler to tell him to stop slandering his name about him being a sandbagger and all this stuff. I loved it because Yip had a video just calling this dude out, just like, you're not going to do anything about it. What was weird is the guy was like, I'm weirdly okay with this now, and then sends him this letter. It was a weird situation. I loved it. Yip's the man. We need less sandbagging in the game of golf. I think it's already bad enough that we have net events. For the most part, hate net events. I get why we have them. I understand it. You can't have gross events everywhere. But Yip getting a cease and desist and completely tearing it up and continuing what he does. Loved every minute of that. So that comes in at number 5 in my power rankings. Number 4, talked about this last week. Happy Gilmore 2. I think there's nothing better than a good movie coming out in the summer. When there's not, kind of came out in July. We've always, the summer flicks are always good. You always got a couple really good movies that come out in the summer. Happy Gilmore comes out. Just kind of gives you something to look forward to when you get into late July. But but not much more to say because we kind of did a deep dive into Happy Gilmore last week. But Happy Gilmore 2 comes in at number 4 on my list of best things in golf this summer. Number 3. This is where Mitch, I wish he could be here to defend himself. But he's not. And I got the mic all by myself and I love it. And we're gonna just roll the bus on this guy. I think the biggest peak and nosedive as far as likability and people just going from loving this guy to dogging this guy. Rory, after winning the Masters in April, having the scene on 18, crying, all this stuff, big relief, finally gets the monkey off his back. I'm not sure if his likability was probably any higher than it ever was at that moment. There's just no way. Like, I think that before that, people were like, you either loved Rory or you hated him, or not hated him, but you just didn't like him for whatever reason. But I think a lot of people could, relate to that moment, right? Like kind of overcoming some adversity and getting what he's worked for so long and had so many chances at. So his likability after the Masters probably couldn't be higher. Flash forward to now. I don't know if his likability could be any less. He's skipped media constantly. Hasn't played very good golf, really, for the most part since then. Now, last week, first week of the playoffs, he skips St. Jude. I just don't know if there's been a bigger nosedive in likability than Rory's gone through this year, and I'm here for it. Look, I don't hate Rory. I'm not a fanboy like most of the Rory fans are. Shout out to Mitch. But I think there is something to be said that there was something inside of him that kind of like almost invincibility that kind of came over him after winning the career Grand Slam in April. And I like it because I feel like him being unlikable, specifically going into a Ryder Cup that's going to be in New York, and I am here for all the heckling he's going to take at that event. But I think it's gonna be humbling for him. I really do. I don't know what clicked. It's almost like everybody likes me now. That's never going to go away. Kind of that feeling, and he's skipping media and all this. I think his likability has just plummeted since that moment in April at the Masters, and I'm here for it. I specifically, like I said, just because it's a Ryder Cup year, 100% here for it. I cannot wait. I hope he gets his brains beat in at Bethpage. Probably not going to happen, but I hope it does. I hope he goes 0-4 or whatever, how many ever matches he plays. I'm sure he's going to play in every single format, or he may sit out one. But I hope he goes 0-4. I hope he does. He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it for the way he's kind of acted since the Masters. So that comes in at number 3. I love it. I'm sure that's not going to be on most people's list, but that is on mine. Flash to another professional golfer at number 2. Somehow Scotty Scheffler having a better year than previous years when the bar was already so high this year, winning 2 majors in the fashion that he's won them, winning multiple times, and then just essentially being untouchable. All while telling people he doesn't really care how he plays golf. I think it's awesome. The complete opposite of Rory. The guys feels like there was a stretch in there between June and July, or really May and July, where he was winning like every other week. And then you find out at the Open that, he goes into that deep dive about how golf doesn't really matter. And to come to find out this guy's beating everybody's brains in. He just kind of doesn't really care how he plays golf. I mean, he cares, but he doesn't. It's not the most important thing. Where you can tell in Rory's life, golf is the most important thing, right? And I love it. Scotty's become exponentially more likable in my eyes. I mean, I already loved him before this, but after this year, kind of really having one of the best years since Tiger's 2001. I think that's not even arguable. This is the second best year behind that year. It's really going to be hard to catch that year Tiger had in 2001. But I tell you what, Scotty Scheffler's coming pretty damn close. And he's probably a really good, end of the year here, and probably a good showing at the Ryder Cup from maybe really making that argument pretty close with two majors and the amount of wins he has this year. So shout out to Scotty for not caring and beating everybody's brains in this summer. I love that. One of my favorite things that I've seen this summer. All right, coming into number one. This is probably going to be something that no one, maybe some people have seen. They do have like 350,000 followers on Instagram. I found them probably about 3 weeks ago, and I went back and watched every one of their videos. I watch every one of their updates because I'm envious, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. I think it's something that you're sitting around having beers with your friends, and you like talk about doing what they're doing right now. So this Instagram account called Fairway Fields. It's this group of dudes up in Maine. They buy a golf course that is completely overgrown. I don't know if it's been open for maybe 3 or 4 years, so it's completely overgrown. Can't really see where the greens have been. It's starting to look better now, but when they started, you couldn't see where the greens were. You kind of see where the driving range was a little bit. Run-down buildings on the property, nasty bathroom, really no pro shop. These guys bought this piece of property, and they're bringing back the golf course. They're bringing back the driving range. They're going to have a simulator where it's going to be year-round. Obviously, Maine's golf season's not that long, so they're going to have a way to hit out into the range in the summer, and then in the winter, close it off. But I think it's the coolest thing that these guys are taking something that's completely run down and making it their own. And it's probably going to become really big because, like I said, they've already got over 300,000 followers on Instagram. And I just think it's really cool when people do stuff like this and have the guts to do something like this, right? Like I said, I know I've had this conversation, night with the boys, and we're like, God, it's like, it'd be cool to like, build a pitch and putt or, take over this golf course and like make it our own. And I know I've had that conversations 100 times, but to actually go out and do it is truly astonishing. And I'm like envious, and I think it's really cool all at the same time. And so shout out to those guys at Fairway Fields. I can't wait to see the finish. Maybe it's never going to be finished, but as they continue to get this course into shape and till the greens and get the greens back to what they were, I'm so looking forward to it. It's probably going to be a 2-year process because this place is pretty run down. But shout out to those guys. That is my number one of 6 things my 6 favorite things that happened this summer in golf. If you've not seen their videos, please go check them out. Like I said, at Fairway Fields. Go back, watch all their videos. It's really cool what they're doing up there in Maine. All right. Well, there was a PGA tournament this weekend. We were in Memphis for the St. Jude. I don't know where to start with this tournament. I didn't get to watch a ton of it. Watched a little bit. Got to watch the playoff. I guess I'll start here. Poor Tommy. I don't know where we're going to go from here. And he's good. He's so good about it. He's in prime position to finally get that win off his back in a playoff event. And just guys played better than him, right? And it just sucks. It sucks so bad. I want, Cam Young getting his first win last week is like, holy crap, we're going to get 2 weeks in a row where, 2 guys get their first PGA Tour wins in a row. And it just didn't happen. Instead, we get Justin Rose and JJ Spaun playoff, which was electric. And I feel like this tournament every year has a playoff. I don't know why it feels that way. I think it's been like 3 out of the last 4 years. And that 18th hole is so good for a playoff. And they just keep going back and playing it, which I love. I hate when they try to move it and like do a different hole. Like, just keep playing the same hole. Let's try to figure this thing out. Specifically where all the grandstands are and everything like that. It was an electric playoff. Justin Rose, a lot of guys, I kind of shout out the Jamie Kennedy did a thread this morning on Justin Rose's decision on Sunday to continue to hit driver on 18. If you've watched this tournament at all in the years past, a lot of guys don't hit driver. they're hitting 3-woods, hybrids, things to just kind of get it out in the fairway. Justin Rose continually hit driver, kind of got away with one on the one playoff hole, pulled it a hair and barely made it over the water. But I just love the ballsy play from Justin Rose. I think it was his 16th win on the PGA Tour. And I'm going to be honest, I think we don't give Justin Rose, and this pun intended, the flowers he deserves for the player he is. Maybe it's the lack of majors. He does have a U.S. Open. Maybe it's that. I don't know. But the guy's won 16 times. He seems to be getting better with age. It's kind of crazy. He's one of the older guys out there. But, man, I don't know what to make of it. I'm terrified for him at Bethpage. I feel like he's just going to put everybody in the blender that he plays. Even, 2 years ago, wasn't playing his best, gets on the team, and has a great Ryder Cup. I don't know what to make of the fact that he's playing good right now, and we've got a Ryder Cup coming up here in about a month. I'm terrified. As a Justin Rose fan, I'm happy, but as a USA fan, genuinely terrified of what he's going to do to us at Bethpage here in about a month. Big things out of the tournament. Just going to run through a couple headlines. The big one out of this is Ricky Fowler sneaks into the top 50, and there's been a lot of pushback on this. And I guess I can see both sides of the story, but I think ultimately when I get to my conclusion of why I think it's kind of stupid these people are saying this, I think that's kind of the side everybody should be following on. So Ricky Fowler is 48th in FedEx Cup points. Barely sneaks in. T6 this weekend. Played really good here at Memphis. But the big thing is that people have the problem with is Ricky got exemptions into the elevated events. I think he got, I want to say 2 or 3, and then he ended up qualifying for the rest of them. 41% of his FedEx Cup points came from exemptions into tournaments. Essentially, but here's the thing. You still got to go out there and play. I know it's their no cuts. Most of those are no cuts. But he played pretty good in a couple of them. You still have to go out there and play golf. Like that's what I don't understand about people getting all worked up over this. Like, they're mad. Like, there's people out there genuinely in the media that are mad that he is in the top 50 after getting sponsor exemptions in the tournaments. And 41% of those points coming from those exemptions. And here's what I would say to the people that are mad. I think it's crazy. We're trying to make golf more watchable. We're trying to keep young kids more interested into actually watching golf on television. There's no one more popular than Ricky Fowler. Nobody. He is a favorite of pretty much the genre of like 18 and under, probably 21 and under at this point, because some of those kids grew up watching Ricky. He's the most popular person in that genre, in that age group. It's not even close. He is by far the most popular in the I'd say under 21 age group. If you got the older side of that range, it's most of the kids that grew up when Ricky was playing really good golf, and watched him coming up as an am. And then the younger, he's just a likable guy. He's out there in bright orange. He's got a huge following. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. I think that younger age group kind of the way he dresses and stuff like that. So I have no problem with him getting exemptions, because as people that give away these exemptions, they're paying big money to put their names on these tournaments. Big money. So if they want to get a guy that's going to draw people in to buy tickets and watch it on TV, no issues there. 0 issues. And here's the fact of the matter is, he's going to sell more tickets and he's going to get more people to watch it on TV. So to say that, he shouldn't have got these exemptions, and look, I get it. There's journeymen out there, and there's people on Corn Ferry Tour and many tours that it could be an entertainment value from the people that are really golf sickos, like, oh, they know this guy's story. But I get it from a sponsor standpoint of they're trying to sell more tickets. They're trying to get more people to watch it on TV. And Ricky's part of that equation. I know he's not, top 10 in the world like he was at one point, but he is definitely part of that equation when you start talking about eyeballs towards the product. So I have no problem with it. I'm looking forward to. I'm glad he seems to be playing better. He's kind of been up and down, but seems to be playing well. Like I said, T6 this week. He's into next week at the BMW. So shout out to Ricky. Don't listen to the haters. It just seems crazy that we're trying to get more people to watch, and this is the problem that we have with this. So it is what it is. I get it, but I get where they're coming from, but I think it's stupid when golf is struggling to keep people watching the product, specifically the PGA Tour. Other notables, Jordan Spieth, our king, officially out of the playoffs. T38 this week. He needed a little bit better than that. Birdied a hole coming down the stretch to get into the top 50. Bogeyed 18. That was the killer. I think he bogeyed 17. That was the dagger in the back. He's out of the playoffs way too soon. Someone of his caliber should not be missing. At the very minimum, should not be missing the BMW. But he's out of the playoffs. Other notables out of the playoffs already. Wyndham Clark, notably banned from Oakmont. T56 this week. Wasn't good enough to move him onto the BMW. Hate to see it. Obviously, sarcasm there. The other notable, Tony Finau, after having a historically bad year with the putter, T64 this week. That was not good enough to get him into the play or into the next week into the BMW. I did want to point something out though, and I saw something really cool. I meant to say it when we were talking about Ricky there. So the USAM's actually back at Olympic Club since the first time since 2007. USGA puts out a graphic of the top 15 AMs in the World Golf Rankings in 2007, heading into the USAM at Olympic Club. This list is kind of crazy looking at it. But coming in at number one, guy we just talked about, Ricky Fowler. Number two, do not know him, Lloyd Saltman, no idea where he's at. This is where we kind of go in the run of some notable names. Dustin Johnson comes in at 3, Billy Horschel 4, Chris Kirk 5, Webb Simpson 6. JV Lovemark kind of hung around for a little bit. I don't know where he's at now, but he did hang around for a little bit. Coming in at 8, Reese Davies. 9, Kyle Stanley. Haven't heard that name in a while. He did have a little bit of a run there. 10, Alan Wagner. 11, John Perry. 12, David Horsey. Don't know who these guys are. Here's the last 3. And 15 is the one that amazes me the most. I genuinely can't wrap my head around it. I know he was probably 17 at this point, but it's still crazy. 13 is Danny Willett, Masters winner. 14, Colton Oast, TV guy now. And then 15, Rory McIlroy. And that is kind of, I know he was 17 at this point. These guys on this list were a little older than him, but still blows my mind that he was 15th on that list at that point. Yeah, kind of crazy. But Ricky coming in at number 1 in 2007. They're back at Olympic Club. Highly suggest to catch some of that on TV if you can this week. The stroke play qualifying is happening right now. Match play starts on Wednesday. It's great TV. Highly suggest it. All right, we're heading into the BMW next week. Some notable people. I was kind of going through the FedEx Cups that just need good weeks. One of them being, if we're talking about Ryder Cup, Xander Schauffele sits in at 43. Got to get in the top 30 to get into the Tour Championship. He's sitting out there. Daniel Berger, even after the great year he had, he's sitting outside that cut line at 33. Michael Kim, who just had a blistering start to the year, not so much lately. He sits at 42, needs a good week this week. Jason Day coming in at 44. Needs a really good week this week. I actually found some stuff that talked about the week that guys needed to make it to next week, like the minimum finishes that they needed to make it to next week. So here's some of the minimum finishes, just in case you're going to follow this weekend. I think it's the coolest thing about it is it's the guys at the back of the pack that are fighting to stay in for that one last week in that guaranteed paycheck at East Lake. So Sam Stevens, who sits at 31, needs a T40, two-way T40 or better. Seems, given there's only going to be 50 players, not too bad. Here's some of the notables, though. Xander Schauffele needs a 21st or better. Jason Day needs a T20 or better. Ricky Fowler needs a solo 13th or better this week. And then, and actually I forgot, Matt Fitzpatrick, also under that cut line, coming in at 40. He needs a two-way tied for 21st or better this week. And Michael Kim, they don't have him on. Yeah, there it is, solo 21st or better. So some of these guys going to be battling out. Like I said, I think this is the best part of the playoffs, at least this week, where you're going to see some guys at the back of the pack really trying to battle it out to make that guaranteed paycheck at East Lake 2 weeks from now. All right. That's enough professional golf talk. We are moving on to Patio Beers, and I struggled. I had a couple good ones, good questions. I really wanted to save them for Mitch, but I think I'm going to ask this, and we're going to get Mitch's take on this probably next week when he's back. So we're sitting there, like I said, went to concerts this weekend, tons of concerts. I think we saw like 15 acts in total. Everybody always covers a song, right? Every concert you go to, they're gonna cover a song, right? If it's a rock concert, new rock, the guys are gonna cover, some kind of Metallica song or something like that. The notable ones we saw this week, Carrie Underwood, I would say this was her best performance. Like I said, not wildly into her music. She did Paradise City. I thought it was awesome how she did it. It's like one of her last songs she played. I think it was phenomenal. But other bands covered at least one song. And I think it's awesome. I love when guys, specifically a lot of the people we saw this weekend were newer artists, not newer, but like they're not like folklore at this point, right? And they give a kind of a tip of the hat to someone that maybe gave them some inspiration making their music by playing their song. We saw Carly Pearce on Thursday. She did Jolene. I thought it was fantastic. So my question is if you were a band, if you can only pick one song, what song would you pick to cover to kind of give the old, tip of the cap to your favorite artist growing up, or, or someone that inspired you to become, a band? This was a hard one for me because I have favorite songs, but it doesn't necessarily mean. I guess you got to kind of figure out what genre you're going to be, right? Like, are you going to be in a rock band? Are you going to be country? Are you going to be, God forbid, the next Eminem, me be the next Eminem and be a rapper? I guess it just depends on what genre you're going to be. Now, however, I do love, like Carrie Underwood doing Paradise City, the crossover. When you get like a country artist do a rock song, or, Post Malone, who's kind of started as, rap, pop, hip hop, and, he's done some country covers. He's kind of into doing country music. I always love those crossovers. You kind of hear a song in a different way that you've never heard it before. Love that. I really, really do love that. But I guess maybe you don't have to figure out what genres, but I have favorite songs, but it doesn't necessarily mean something that I would like, hey, this song meant a lot to me and I'm going to cover it. Do a cover of it. But I thought, I was like, okay. And I was thinking in this mindset when my wife asked me this question, I'm like, okay, well, let's just say I go into country music. And I was like thinking of like, okay, I like crossovers. To me, like, this is not my favorite Van Halen song, but I think it would be really cool to do like a country crossover of it. And I said Hot for Teacher. I think that would be unbelievable, like a crossover into country music doing Hot for Teacher. I think it would be like a really cool way to hear, a different way to hear that song. If I had that second choice, let's just say if I was a rock and I was trying to cover something else, I think I would do a cover of Devil Went Down to Georgia in a rock version. We've kind of seen some similar crossovers, like rock bands doing Michael Jackson songs. I love that. But I think if I was a rock band, I would do Devil Went Down to Georgia, Charlie Daniels Band crossover into rock. I think that would be a really cool way to hear that song in a new way, right? But those are my two. Like I said, it's hard because it's like you have favorite songs and I have favorite songs, and but I think it's more of finding a song maybe from your favorite band that like would be a cool crossover into the genre that you're in. Maybe it's not the same genre they're in. So that's why I picked Hot for Teacher. Would love to hear some of your takes on this and see what you would do, what genre you would be in, and what song you would cover. And then maybe it is like, oh, I'd be a country singer and I would, cover a Garth Brooks song or something like that. I think another cool song, like if a rock band did it, would be Callin' Baton Rouge by Garth Brooks. I think rock, maybe even rap would be pretty cool. Hip hop or something like that. I think that would be awesome for that song. But I could go on for days. I want to hear it. What genre are you in as a band, and what song are you covering? Maybe it's a crossover. Maybe it's something in the genre that you're a band in. But that's all I got for the night. Nice, tidy 47-minute show here. Like I said, I'm all by myself. So shout out to Mitch again. Hopefully be back next week. He may not. I'm trying to get a guest on if he's not going to be on next week. We're supposed to have somebody. We're still kind of working out the details on that for another guest. But other than that, that's all I got. Have a great week. We'll see you guys back here next week. Cheers. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.